Hello, hello, just Gem here and welcome, or indeed welcome back to my channel. This is another refilm because I filmed this originally on the same day that I filmed my Little Miss collab, but I filmed it at the end of the day. I was a bit deflated and knackered and it was a tired version of me, and I was like, I don't want the tired version of me to be the version that's in this video, because normally, well, I was about to say normally I'm full of pep, but I don't know if that's the right way to describe me either. But I'm normally more cheery than I was in the first iteration of this video. So I'm back again. And also what I've done is I've gone through the questions and put them in a more coherent order, because I was jumping all over the place and repeating myself constantly. So I thought, go through the questions properly, group them together, and then come back, group the questions, regroup yourself, come back, try again. So here we are. Let's get going, shall we, with the questions that you have put to me. The most popular question by quite some time was, why are you here? And I don't mean that in like an existential way, why are any of us here? But why am I here on YouTube? Where do I start with this? So I've wanted to be on YouTube for a while. So the camera that I'm filming on, it actually popped up as a memory today. I've had it since 2017. If you do the quick maths, that's 9 years ago. Is that correct? Yes, 9 years. No, 8 years ago. Gosh, I'm normally good at this with the maths. 8 years ago, I bought this camera, and I almost tricked. Well, no, I did want to get into photography, and every now and again, I do take my camera out and I take some nice pictures. But I mainly bought it because I wanted to do the YouTubes, to be perfectly honest. And then, so that tackled my first question of, I don't have the right equipment to do this, because I think 8 years ago, I don't know how good phones were for creating content. I think you could do it, but it just might not have been the best quality. So I got over that obstacle of one piece of equipment I was missing, and then consequently spent approximately the next, if that was 8 years ago, 7 years making excuses as to why I couldn't start. Lack of other equipment, lack of skill, lack of time, lack of ability, you name it, I used it as an excuse. Fast forward to COVID times, and I did try again. I know I'm repeating myself a little bit because I have talked about this before, but during COVID I did try again. I filmed with the Jackie Aina palette, and it was terrible, really, really bad. And then I tried again. I can't remember which came first. I think it was me trying to film with the Bijou Brilliance collection from Pat McGrath. That was marginally better, but when I came to edit it, it was still terrible. Still really, really bad. And then the final thing that got me going was actually Odin's Eye, and rage is a bit extreme, but the frustration that I experienced when I bought an Odin's Eye mystery box in April 2024, that's when it really started. So I filmed that, edited it, and I thought, that wasn't bad actually. Apparently the motivation I needed was disappointment. So I filmed that, and I thought, well, maybe I could keep doing this, and I've been filming pretty consistently since then. Why am I doing it? Many reasons. I'm going to get interrupted because my battery is flat. Let me just change it now, actually. I'm going to change my battery and then we'll be right back. Fresh, fully charged battery inserted. So that's a bit of the backstory of almost the how, the why. When I first started watching YouTube and I was getting into beauty, that would have been probably around 2015, 2016. And the people I was watching at the time were like your Jackie Ainas, did I watch Manny MUA at the time? I think so. I did watch Jeffree Star back then. I think I watched a bit of Patrick Star here and there. Samantha Ravndal. And Nima Tang, I think she was around back then. So those are kind of the people that I was watching at the time. but there wasn't a lot of representation for people my skin tone. So there was Jackie Aina, who I discovered a bit later on is actually a fair bit lighter than me. I hadn't clocked that because, you know, things like lighting and whatnot, people often look a lot lighter on camera than they are in person. So there was Jackie Aina, and then there was Nima Tang, and people in between. Oh, Makeup Shayla, I watched her too. People in between would just seem to be missing. There was this void. So sometimes I would be watching reviews and I'd form a bit of an idea about a product, but I'd never really be sure how it would look on me. And initially, when it came to colour theory, I sucked. I had a basic understanding that obviously a particular tone of pink lipstick would look a certain way on me, but it would look very different on someone who was much paler and much deeper. But I still couldn't seem to grasp, I couldn't sort of translate what that colour might look like on me. So I might see a product and think to myself, that looks really good on her, I really want that. And then I might purchase it and try it on and just be a bit disappointed with how it looked, just because my colour theory was just shit. It's much better now, much better, and I have a much better idea of the content creators' skin tones, and when it looks a certain way on them, I have a much better of translating how it's going to look on me. So when it comes to people who are a bit more melanated these days, I'll watch Dr. Ash, Jamie Trini, Jamila, I watch her, even like Karen Harris. Obviously they're still a lot lighter than me, but I'm much better at predicting how things are going to look. I realise I'm going off on like a wide tangent here, but the long and the short of it is representation. I was just getting frustrated, I think, that there weren't a lot of people that looked like me. The people who did look like me seemed to be battling against the algorithm, and you would have to scroll for miles down when you did a search on YouTube to be able to find those darker content creators. It's still the case now. Like, even if I type something like Bougie, I've got that on my eyes, Bougie Boudoir on a dark skin tone, you're more likely to then have creators pop up with a darker skin tone, but they're still suppressed. Like, it will still show me like bad to the brow first. I'm like, well, she's not dark, like, come on guys. So representation, I thought, you know what, if I can help someone in the same boat who's just getting into makeup, who has no idea where to start and just wants a reference of how something is going to look on them, hopefully I can attempt to beat the algorithm and they will find me. So that's a very, very long-winded way of explaining why I decided to do YouTube. And then a kind of follow-up question, well, there were two follow-up questions. One of them was, what made you start doing the tubes, and did the reason change as you kept going? And I guess it has changed. Now not that I felt an obligation to do it, I guess I just got frustrated. It's like that cheesy quote, be the change you want to see in the world, whatever. So I was just like, fuck it. If no one else who looks like me is going to... Well, no, they are there, but the YouTube algorithm just buries them. But I thought, odds, you know, it's a numbers game. So, and has that reason changed? I like it now. It's a hobby. I work from home a lot. I do go down to London like once a week and I'm in the office, so I get to interact in real time and live with human beings. But this is quite nice. I think another reason that I'd been put off doing YouTube for quite a while is because there is a nasty side to the beauty community. I know it's there. I haven't experienced it, but I've heard about it. There's a lot of anecdotal evidence about how brutal the beauty community can be. And I'm very lucky. Maybe it's because it hasn't even been a year yet since I've been doing this properly, but I haven't come across any of that. In fact, it's been the complete opposite. I've been interacting with some really lovely people. I've had some amazing experiences. Like, I've recently been able to do a collab. I've got PR on the way, which is like a bit of a pinch me moment because, again, I've only been doing this for a year. And it's funny because friends joke to me, I was like, oh, you know, maybe you'll get free makeup. And that's not why I started it. It's a very long-winded way of going about getting free makeup. But obviously, if someone wants to send me free makeup, I'm not going to be like, you're alright, thanks. You're alright, thanks. So it's a perk. It's nice, but that's not why I'm here. And as you'll see from most of the videos that I've produced so far, I'm not afraid to dip my hand into my pocket. I just like it. I like doing YouTubes. It's a nice little hobby. I get to meet nice people and interact with nice people. I get to have some chats in the comments with some of you. Some of you are over on Instagram, so I chat with you there. And it's just a nice way of extending my makeup hobby into something a little bit wider. Yeah. So I realised I spent a lot of time on that, but that came up multiple times. Oh wait, no, I haven't finished. You'd think because I'd grouped these together, I would have done a better job at this. Another follow-up question to someone who asked this was, what would you recommend to someone wanting to start? Just do it. Just do it. I went down a rabbit hole of watching these, you know, how to get started on YouTube, and I think watching that almost made it worse because they were giving you this long list of like things you need to do before you even start. Bollocks, just do it. Get your camera if you've got one. If you haven't got a camera, get your phone, because phones are amazing now. Test runs, do test runs, film until you feel comfortable, because the first few things you do are going to be shit. They are. Just brace yourself, they are. But then you get into a rhythm and you find your groove and you figure out what works for you, and then you just get into it. Like, don't dwell on it, don't overthink it, which is what I've done for the past 8 years on and off. Just do it. Just do it. What type of books do you read? What type of music do you listen to? And can you share some of your favourite books and music? So shamefully, though I used to read a lot, I don't anymore. And I've just moaned about, you know, how one of the excuses I used to have for not starting YouTube was lack of time. Now one of the reasons I don't read is lack of time. So between a full-time job, travelling back and forth, one to London when I need to be in the office and just travelling around in general for work, and then now filming and editing for YouTube, I really, really don't have the time. I could make the time, I really could, but it's harder. I used to love to read, I used to read all the time. I could easily read a book to 2 books a week. I couldn't tell you now the last time I started and finished a book, but I do want to try to get back into that again. And it might be that I try to switch off a bit earlier of an evening, put my phone away, stop doom scrolling, get a book out instead. So when I was reading, I think one of my favourite books of all time, I don't know if it's going to sound a bit cliche or whatever, but it's Pride and Prejudice. I love Pride and Prejudice. I just think it's beautifully written. Despite the language, I think it's timeless. There's a reason why it's been adapted into films and movies. Films and movies are the same things. Films and TV series over and over and over again. It's because it's brilliant. I think it's like a classic, I mean, it's not a rom-com, but it's like a classic romance, you know, misunderstanding, and yeah, I think it's a brilliant book. Another book that I thoroughly enjoyed was The Book Thief. That was really well written as well. I'm trying to think. Oh, Agatha Christie books. Love Agatha Christie. Any kind of murder mystery where I can try and solve it myself along the way, and then anything linked to time travel. And then I'll sort of come back to this, but even like movies linked to time travel as well. Love them. Music. What type of music do I listen to? I listen to a little bit of everything. I've got a playlist on my Spotify called Songs to Dance Around the Kitchen To, so I'll have that on when I'm maybe washing up, or if I'm cooking, or if it's a Sunday and I'm doing like my Sunday clean. If I'm working and I don't want a distraction but I want some background noise, I'll have classical music playing in the background, because if I have anything more stimulating than that, I will stop working and start singing and or dancing. So that's a big no-no. I like all kinds of music. I think the only music I don't like is maybe like trance or anything that just goes doosh, 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 doosh. Like, no, I'm not into any of that. What's next? What else do you like doing besides the makeup? And then I've kind of, someone who asked a few questions asked, like, do I like to travel? So I've kind of put those in together. So yes, I do like to travel. That's something I thoroughly enjoy outside of the makeups. I'm a bit of a foodie, which goes well with my love of travel, and I love watching movies. So whereas I don't go down the book route as a means of escape, for want of a better word, I do tend to do that with films and series. Like, I'm particularly, maybe not so much now with the recent releases, but like the OG Marvel Cinematic Universe films, like up to and including Endgame, some of my favourite films. Loved them. And as I mentioned before, like time travel, so you can clearly understand why Endgame would be epic for me as a film to watch. If you haven't seen Endgame, then you may not understand what I mean when I say about time travel and how that would obviously make that film even more epic for me. Travel, movies, foodie, and I do want to get back into reading, because when I was reading and I was really into it, I thoroughly enjoyed that. So definitely, if you can think of any books that will get me back into the rhythm of reading again, then by all means leave a comment down below. Like, if you read a good murder mystery, drop it down in the comment box below, because I would love to give it a go. What did you want to be when you grew up, and does it have anything to do with what you do now? And someone's also asked, like, what's your real job? Vaguely, we don't want creepers. Way back, I think I wanted to be a lawyer. And then I quickly realised that to be a lawyer, there'd be a lot of studying involved. And while I was fully capable of doing that, I'm quite lazy and I didn't want to study. So then I thought, what's the next best thing? And apparently the next best thing was police officer. So I was a police officer for a little while, a very long time ago. I only did it for a year, hated it, hence why I only did it for a year. Glad that I did do it, because once the lawyer idea went out the window, police, that was something I really wanted to do. But it's a horrible job. To anyone who does it and who does it well, I have the utmost respect. So one of my really good friends, she's still a police officer to this day. So we met because we were on the same training intake. But it was just a really unpleasant experience for like many reasons. And the only time you ever met nice people was when something horrific had happened either to them or to a member of their family. And I thought to myself, do I want to do this for a total of 35 years? And the answer was no. So I resigned, went travelling, lived in Australia for a couple of years, and then came back and fell into event management. And I've been doing event management ever since. So that's quite a difference, lawyer, criminal justice system, event management. But I think I'm well suited to event management. I've been doing that now for about 12 years on and off. I've got the personality for it. I'm pretty organised, pretty thorough, which kind of links to the final question I'm going to answer. So I'll leave that bit there. If you could collaborate with any brand, who and why? It's like, as I just mentioned very recently, a collab with Blend Bunny. I'm guessing though that potentially this person means collabing with my own, like creating my own product with a brand, rather than just doing the kind of collaboration that I've just been involved with, which still pinching myself. I think I'd probably want to do it with a UK indie brand for obvious reasons. If you haven't managed to glean from my accent, that's where I'm based, in the UK. See, if you'd asked me maybe like October time, I'd have said Cosmic. And I would still work with Cosmic, like obviously, I mean, if like Faye was like, hey, Gem, Do you want to do a collab? I wouldn't be like, no thanks, I'm holding out for somebody else. But I think I'd quite like to do something with Artitude, just because, I don't know, it would be a toss up between Cosmic and Artitude. I think I love both of the formulas. I think from playing with Artitude a bit more, I think the formula in Artitude might edge it for me, just all round. Cosmic still performs beautifully, but I think there's just something about the formula of Artitude Cosmetics. So I think just based on that, Artitude might be the one I'd want to work with. Either way, a UK brand, I think it would have to be a UK brand. But if I was to expand that beyond UK, then Nomad, Blend Bunny, Titanium Foxes. Titanium Foxes are new, so I don't know if they'd be on the market for any kind of collab, but there's something about the formulas involved, and I just think it would be incredible to do a collab with that formula, thinking more about how you want them all to blend together. So maybe those brands, but UK first, then rest of the world. What's your favourite makeup brand you tried in 2024? So I'm going to link my makeup tag of 2024 video below, because I kind of touch on this, and it's pretty much all of the indie brands that I was fortunate enough to try last year. So I've just said about Cosmic, Artitude, Blend Bunny, Nomad, Titanium Foxes. I've only tried one palette from Gourmand Girls, but I feel like I want to put them in there because that palette, the more I use it, the more I really, really enjoy it. Danessa Myricks, because I tried Lightworks 5 and 6 last year, and I love that foundation. I love that foundation. Once I've gone through all of my foundations I currently have, I can see myself exclusively only ever repurchasing that Danessa Myricks Blurring Balm foundation. Top tier, love it. So yeah, all of the indie brands, and I don't think I could narrow it down to just one. No, I don't think I could. How does makeup make you feel? Makeup makes me feel creative, inspired, and beautiful. Not that I think I'm ugly without makeup. Perhaps a bit tired. I just love that you can use it to either enhance, you can just use it to get rid of little bags under your eyes. Touch of concealer, and you could leave it at that if you wanted to. Or you could go all out glam, and then you've got the extremes of it, like when you go into special effects makeup, or drag makeup, where you can almost change the shape of your face using makeup if you wanted to. I don't go to that extreme. I might add a bit of contour to give myself a bit of a chisel, but generally aging has helped to reduce the roundness of my face. There are some pros to aging, and I think my skin is also better. It's nowhere near as oily as it used to be. I just love the artistic side of makeup. It's not all just about making someone look pretty or prettier. It's not as shallow as that. There's a lot more to makeup, which I think a lot of people don't necessarily realise. What kind of makeup have you not figured out? Have you seen my eyeliner journey? I don't know if I'll ever figure out eyeliner. I think I'm getting there. Even today with this, I mentioned it when I was filming. I kind of wanted to make this wing a bit bigger, but then I was scared. When you see those memes, and they pick a panda for a reason, where you do one eye. I mean, it's not so bad because I've got one look on each eye. But then you go to make one wing a bit bigger, but then it doesn't match, so you make that one a bit bigger, but then that's too big, and then you just end up with eyeliner just all over your face. I'm getting better. I think I know what kind of shape of eyeliner suits my eye, so I've kind of got the placement right, but I need to work on getting a steadier hand and being more symmetrical. I mean, symmetrical is hard, but as symmetrical as possible. What's your skincare routine? Because your skin is perfect. Aging seems to have helped with that, as I mentioned. Not as oily, bit drier, but I almost feel like dryness is easier to manage than oiliness. Possibly. But I wear SPF as much as possible, like when I remember, which should be every day, but I don't always wear it every day. I should. Double cleanse when I wear makeup, moisturize, and I think I'm just lucky, to be honest. I don't really have a dedicated skincare routine. I feel like I should get one, though, because like now I am getting a bit older. I am noticing that the skin under my eyes, for example, is not as well, it's very delicate, so you've got to be really, really careful with the skin that's under your eyes, and I don't want that to deteriorate to the point where that's what gives away that I'm getting older. One of the questions was about how I store my makeup, so I've filmed that separately and I'm going to insert that for you now. Most of it for a start is eyeshadow palettes, and most of it is also here. So the eyeshadow palettes you can just see slotted on the shelves, and Amazon sometimes can be a wondrous place, because I measured this up and found these rather nifty drawers which have my blushes, highlighters, lipsticks, a lot of lipsticks, because lipsticks were actually my first passion before eyeshadow palettes. Bronzers, but a couple of them are on my filming desk at the moment as I'm alternating. A couple more Natasha Denona palettes, more lipsticks. And they kind of have a pattern. So we've got UK on the top with Cosmic, Artitude, Kaima, Pastel Roses, Beauty Bay made by Mitchell. Then this is the Indie Rest of the World shelf. Blend Bunny, Gourmand Girls, Titanium Foxes, Nomad. My Pat McGrath shelf. I was very into Pat McGrath, as you can see, for quite some time. I have a lot of Pat McGrath stuff, but that may well change because I haven't bought much Pat McGrath recently. But this is the latest holiday big release, and that's one of the Quints. They've just arrived. I've not had time to use them yet, to pick them up in the Black Friday sale. This is my high-end other shelf. So that's got Danessa Myricks by Rido, Viseart, Natasha Denona. That's kind of like mainstream brands, bit of Fenty, NARS, Huda, ABH, fair bit of Urban Decay. Everything else, so UK brands that were too big to fit, so Be Perfect in the corner. Got Morphe, Rude Cosmetics, Juvia's, Colourpop, Glamlight. Everything else, basically. Even got some Odin's Eye there. Too Faced should probably be over here, because that's mainstream, isn't it? But yeah, that is how I store most of my makeup. This is a rather nifty Made by Mitchell case, which I would describe as containing my makeup overspill. So this is quite a few as yet unused products, but then a few, like it's got all my foundations in there. Highlighter palettes, blushes, blush palettes, more blushes and highlighters, and a few unused mascaras. So that's my overspill. This is a box that resides under my bed, and as you can see, it's a box of Jeffree Star products, most of which was gifted to me, and I'm not going to lie, I really like the formula. So I don't want to get rid of them, but at the same time I don't feel like I can use them on my channel for somewhat obvious reasons. So they are in a box under my bed. So I recorded that a while ago and I can't remember now what I said. So if any of this is repetitive, I'm just going to cut it all out so you won't know. So that bookshelf that all my makeup is currently on used to have books, but as we've established, I don't read anymore. I put on makeup far more often than I read books. So all the books that are on that shelf are now under my bed, in a box under my bed. Because this is the room that I film in, it's just much easier to have my palettes out. So my palettes used to be in a box under my bed, so I've just switched them around because I go for my palettes considerably more than I go for books. It's already quite full. There's not a lot of space for anything new, and I've considered exercising maybe like a 1 in, 2 out policy, because I think that would make me be more sensible in acquiring new products. I'd think about new purchases a lot more. At the very least, I think I should probably do a 1 in, 1 out. I want to do a declutter, but even when I was kind of looking at my collection and looking at the palettes on there, I don't know what I'd get rid of. I saw Erica had did a declutter recently, and she did well. She got rid of 50 palettes. I think to get rid of the same percentage, would I have to get rid of 20 or 30? I don't know, I haven't done the maths. But already, like, thinking, running through them in my mind, I just don't know what I'd want to get rid of. And a lot of them are gifts, and it's always that little bit harder to declutter a palette when it's a gift. And then even like when it comes to like my Jeffree Star palettes as well, like yes, I have Jeffree Star products, and again I don't want to declutter them because I remember really enjoying them at the time. I mean, I couldn't tell you the last time I dug out one of those, and because they're still under my bed, they're in a box under my bed, but because they're under my bed, they're out of sight, out of mind, so I don't use them. And because 90% of my looks I take pictures of and I put them online, I don't really feel comfortable using his product and posting pictures online. I mean, I guess I could, but just not like tag or indicate that they're his products. Can't bring myself to declutter them because I think 50% were presents. Plus I got them towards the beginning of when I was really getting into eyeshadow, so I just kind of, in that sense, they've got a bit of sentimental value, which is frustrating, but they do. And then linked to that, my friend Charlene has asked me quite a few times now, it's taken me a while to count, how many palettes do I actually own? The current count is at 119, but I think it's going to go down to at least 118 because I was going to just bin it. Well, not bin it, but dismantle, take out the shades I did actually like and bin the rest, but that's the Sunset Chaser palette. But I think I will give it one more go just to see. I don't have high hopes for it, and presuming my original opinion still stands, that's getting decluttered. And then final question, because I'm aware I've been talking now for a very, very long time, and most of you I've probably lulled you into a sleep. If you're still here, I'm amazed, thank you. But the last question, which I thought was a really nice one, is what's your favourite personality trait about yourself? And I guess there's 3 things that came to mind when I thought of this question. And the first one is that I'm honest, possibly to the point of being blunt. I've perhaps got in trouble for how brutal my honesty has been, but that's just me. I can probably sometimes work on my tone when I'm delivering certain truths. I like the fact that I can be honest, and I think I have a lot of friendships, like the friendships that have like stood the test of time, appreciate the fact that I'm honest. And next thing is that I'm determined, which, I mean, you might think to yourself, it took you 8 years to start a YouTube channel, love, are you sure you're determined? But like, now I've started it, I'm going to keep going. And when I think about my work, you know, my determination, I think, is linked to my work ethic. if I'm given something to do, or if I put my mind to do something and I start doing that thing, YouTubes, I will stick at it. I will do it to the best of my abilities. And I think that's why I succeed in my job. I think that's why I do well in my job. You give me a project, you give me a task, and invariably I will go above and beyond to deliver that. That's just how I am as a person. And the final thing I would say is that I think I'm quite witty, or at least I can be. I have that capability sometimes. Yeah, sometimes I have a sharp wit. So I would say those are my most, would you say, prized personality traits? I guess so. I think that's fitting. So yeah, those are all the questions. As I say, so if you recognise one of your questions and you submitted them, thank you very much, because if you hadn't have submitted your questions, it would have been a very short video, and maybe you would have been grateful for that, I don't know. I hope that that's been of interest to you, just to kind of get to know me a little bit outside of the makeups and the YouTubes. As I say, if any follow-up questions, if you thought to yourself, oh, actually, now that she said that, I wonder what, the comment section down below, feel free to ask me something there. I kind of want to reiterate what I said, I think, in my summary video for 2024. I think it was the Pastel Roses video that I did. I want to thank you for being here, for watching my videos, for taking that time. I just really appreciate you being here. As always, thank you for taking the time to watch, and hopefully I'll see you again in a video in a not too distant future. Take care. Bye. So if you've got any book recommendations, anything that you think will jolt me back into the rhythm of watching, I'm saying watching,